This is all funded through the engagement of the ecosystem. It's fully decentralized and it is designed for everyone who wants to experience what a true crypto project should be built like. This is built with the resilience of a blockchain. It's operating on the blockchain, yet we are unique. We are very different. We are like nothing you've ever seen before. And we're proving, okay, how this system works for everybody. And so don't freak out about the liquidity pool because really it's not an issue. If people are selling, they're just doing you a favor because it's allowing us to become fluid more quickly. So hopefully that explains the liquidity pool. I know you guys, I go off sometimes in left field. I'm just one of these blah, 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 blah people, but I can't help myself. So I'm going to hand this back over to you, Brandon, or, if anybody's got questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing that information. If anybody does have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. We'll call on you while they're doing that. If any of the leaders has anything because I know a lot of people are afraid to raise their hand, but they always go to their upline leader with 1,000,001 questions. So if you guys have any questions you'd like to ask on behalf of the community, go ahead and chime in, whether that's Brian, Herschel, Ken, Marnita, let us know. So anybody out there? This has got to be a record. I don't think we've
I
had.
was just going to say that myself. I was going to say,
This is a
normally
record.
the questions are piling up.
Here they start to
So how
come
much
in. All
more?
right, first we'll bring up and please guys keep your this. Let me also say this. This is not the time for customer support questions. Okay, you've got the creator of the project on for a limited amount of time, so let's be mindful of what we're going to ask. So first up, Dorian Ritchie, go right ahead, sir.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, Lynette. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Do you have any updates at all regarding the farming program? Any updates on when?
Now, let me talk about that too for a quick second, because that's been a question of people I want to just explain. So I use the word kind of staking and farming interchangeably because they both have to do with a liquidity pool. But we're going to stick with staking because most people understand that better. The SEC, the staking, in my opinion, is a gray area, okay? Because it's a collective effort off of a community's transactions and different things that are taking place. The SEC frowns on that. So this here staking is MoveQuest that's never been in circulation. It's never been purchased. It's never been sold. It's part of what is written into the tokenomics for the daily distribution for the year, the 2.6 million that goes into circulation. So when you stake that MoveQuest, you are going to be receiving the MoveQuest. The reason we call it farming is because you're getting the MoveQuest. Staking, you're generally getting a different token. And so you're getting the same token that you are staking. And it's not a gray area because it's not a collective pool of money from the community's transactions. It's literally MoveQuest that's never hit circulation. It's never been purchased. It's never been sold. And so when you stake that MoveQuest to, receive those MoveQuest rewards, yes, it is. I don't know if you want to call it staking, farming. People use different terms for it, but that's how it works. And that's why we are doing it with that MoveQuest. It'll be a short term because there won't be that MoveQuest that's available for the long term, right? There's only an allotted amount because of the small community that we are able to put to this. So this isn't something that's going to go on for years. This is a one-up deal. And it should be out with the app, okay? They're testing that right now, the devs are. The app was supposed to have been released to us to test it. We've got a group of people that are going to be looking at it today. And once they had, fixed one feature, another one, an issue came up in another piece. So they're fixing that. So I'm hoping that we're going to see this any day. Now, if they don't turn the farming on the day that we release it, it's only because we don't want people to get confused with what's going on because there's going to be so much in that app. So anytime it's going to be available, Russell, or or I think it was Russell that asked that question. Who was just asking me
No,
that question?
no. You already dropped the
Darius?
set.
Who
Yeah.
was it?
Darius, I think.
Darius. Okay. So it is coming. And I just wanted to give you also, because that is a question. People are saying, well, she said the SEC frowns on the staking. Staking's not illegal, just so you guys know. The SEC hasn't said, oh, you can't do it. But I have a very solid legal team that I talk to and that I work with, and they tell me when to stay away from certain areas. And the reason we're staying away from that traditional staking is because it is a gray area and we don't know what the SEC is going to say. And so we'd rather stay away from anything that could be problematic versus having to remove something and put that shadow over our project. And that's why we didn't do the traditional type of staking. So I just want to differentiate between the two.
I'm going to stick to saying the word farming.
I know. It's so, it confuses people when I use it because it is kind of, they're similar but very different, and we're kind of doing something completely different. And that's typical for our project. So I really don't know what to call it.
No problem. I'm sorry, that was Dorian Ritchie.
Dorian,
All
okay.
right. Next up is Russell. Russell, go right ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Thank you, Lynette, for sharing all this information tonight. I just had a question on the fully fluid price of the MQT token. Um, when when the contract comes in and adds liquidity at the moment, it can boost it by between 150 and 200%, right? So I was just curious, say for instance, we doubled the amount of miners submitting. Would that double the price of the fluid level of the coin, or would it be 150% up to 200% higher?
No, it'd still be the same, but let's say if we had 40,000 miners right now and just the submissions is, let's round it up to 22,000 a day. If we had 80,000 miners, now you're looking at, almost 45,000 a day that's going into the liquidity pool. And that would be based on, that's just figuring that it's taking, half, going to buy it's 150% injection. It's not looking at it as a 200% increase. I always go with a lower amount. So it could ultimately be higher, but again, it's all based on the algorithm. The algorithm will let us know what needs to be done. And while we're testing all of this out, yes, we have to approve it. However, once we're happy with everything, the way it's working, it'll be automated through the contracts. It doesn't even need us to do it, which is going to be really nice because I don't have to watch contracts and make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to be. And then it's just going to be based on the algorithm, period. And it's going to do its thing. And so that's why we really are watching it closely right now, making sure that everything is going as as it's supposed to go based on those algorithms. And right now it's really good for it to have already done what it's done. So we're happy with it. We haven't seen any reasons to change it so far.
Yeah. So as the community grows, the fluid price of the MQT token increases as well. So if you have a huge community, that fully fluid price of the MQT goes up as well.
Yes.
Nice.
And when the community starts building again and you start to see that growth, then you'll start to see that price go up because the evolution will kick in and we'll buy again. You see what I'm saying? Right now, it's not buying because of the selling pressure. So as the community
Yeah.
starts to grow, it will, especially when the new app comes out. We're not even worried about it. We've got so many groups that are waiting for that new DApp to come out for that ease of the onboarding so it doesn't take hours to do. And you're going to start seeing that rapidly go back up again. You'll see that, evolution contract will start buying again. It will buy with the buyers. It won't buy for the sellers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Russell. There was a quick question in the from the YouTube group of people that are still asking about those who were part of the beta for the Binance chain. Is there any new update on plans on what's going to happen on the Binance with the GFAM?
Yeah, so everything right now is based on the stability. So and the same thing will happen for the Binance Smart Chain. So those of you who are on Avalanche but not on the Binance Smart Chain, when we list the MoveQuest there, you will also be able to mint those miners at that 50%. That becomes liquidity when that MoveQuest is listed on the market, same as it would be for Base or any of the other blockchains that we go on. Now, where the Binance Smart Chain is concerned, we are getting rid of that GFAM. Okay, so people that have the GFAM are going to be able to convert it into the MoveQuest so that we only have the MoveQuest token. And so once we're ready to do that, then we'll be able to go over. But we can't, offer the Binance chain to the Avalanche chain until the Avalanche is stable. So in the meantime, we are correcting the Binance Smart Chain. There's a community of about 500 people that are on the Binance Smart Chain. And so we are correcting the GFAM and trying to pull as much of that out of circulation as possible from the people who are selling it. And the ones that are holding the GFAM will be able to convert to the MoveQuest. But again, it's not an overnight, it's not an overnight, what do you want to call it? I don't know, roll over into the, rolling the two communities together. It's not here yet. It's not ready for that type of movement because the Avalanche chain is still being stabilized. Now, the Binance Smart Chain, you can still build on it. The community that's there, if you want to see the same growth that's happening on the Avalanche chain, it's a community-driven project. And this is, one of the problems that we had with the Binance Smart Chain because we had, we were in beta, we were growing and building that project. We didn't really do any type of, marketing. We kept the community kind of small. But that community wasn't really building and didn't get that momentum. And so you see that low token value. It still has the same ecosystem. And, everything that comes into that ecosystem will go into the liquidity pool, but it's so much slower. It's not as active as the Avalanche chain. You see more activity on the Avalanche chain because you've got 33,000, almost 34,000 miners who are mining on the Avalanche chain. You've got 10,000 miners that are mining on the Binance Smart Chain. That's a massive difference between the two chains. So you're going to see some major differences and things aren't going to happen at the same pace. So you can't expect that, you can't expect them to be the same. But it doesn't mean that we're very much involved on the Binance Smart Chain. We need the community over there to be very much involved and, take on some of that responsibility too. This is your project. If you want that community growth, then you have to go out and you have to help to build that. And if you want to wait for us to be at that point where, we can introduce it to the users on the Avalanche chain where they can, go and do those miners and get started over there, then you have to be patient and let the system work in the time frame that it needs to work. And the same thing when we go up on the next blockchain. We won't do it too soon. It's not about how much of your money can we bring into the project. It's about how much value can we bring to the community when we go to that next chain. And so if we go to that chain too early and it doesn't bring you value, then we don't have a community that's happy. And so we aren't doing things under pressure. We're doing things when they're supposed to be done at the right time. And, you got to just kind of trust the system, I guess. And I guess be glad too, because do you really want somebody, up here doing these Zooms and trying to push something on you that really isn't ready and you're just wasting your money? No. So I don't ask people to waste their money.
All right. Thank you for that answer, Lynett. Next one up, this will be the last one, and we'll go ahead and end for tonight, is Kate Bresby. Kate, go right ahead.
Hi, Lynett. As always, thank you so much for your time. Two questions. Recently, you mentioned your ebooks, and I was just wondering how soon you think that those might be available and how I will be able to access those, because I'm really excited about that.
So I had the one published last week and I'll try to get the next one done this week. And I'm just going to make them available on the website. People just be able to download them for free. It won't cost anything. So they'll be up on our site for everybody.
Awesome. Okay. And second question is for someone on the team that I'm on. He's wanting to know, when do you think that the 9th doc slot will be open?
Again, it's really so like right now we could open up the 9th doc slot, right? There's nothing stopping us from doing it, but I have to look at things on a moral level too, an ethical level, because if I was to open up that 9th doc slot, yes, would people go in and spend more money to evolve their miners to get that 9th miner and that mining doc? Could it bring in, a lot more money for the liquidity pool? Could it do some fixing of this overselling from the community? Absolutely. And people would jump all over it. But that would be the wrong thing for me to do. You want to know why? Because all it would be doing is distributing the low amount of tokens that's going out every day amongst 9 miners. It would be costing you money that you don't need to spend because it really has no benefit to you right now. So I can't tell you when, because I don't know when that liquidity pool is going to stabilize. And we really need a community of about, 10,000, a community of 10,000 people, 10 to 15,000 people that are mining with 5 to 8 miners, because then we've got a really pretty robust pool. It's very stable. And then we can start to release more of those tokens that are supposed to be going out every day that are in that reserve pool. Well, the reserve pool, that reserve contract, those are your tokens, but we still, once we start to increase that back up to that 5,000, then what is in reserve will decrease. You'll still get everything you're supposed to get up to that point. Now I'm confusing myself, but 2,500 a day are in the reserve contract. Those are yours. Okay. So whatever you mined today, you've got double. Whatever you mined 3 months ago, it's double. Everything that you've mined, you have double that. Okay. It's just sitting in that reserve contract. Let's say we increase it up to 3,500 a day. That reserve would now have 1,500 a day, and 1,000 would be going out daily on top of the 2,500. So make that very clear so people understand what I'm saying. Then we would be able to start looking at opening up that 9th dock slot, because then it would be beneficial. The community would be larger. There would be more liquidity in that pool. There would be more tokens going out. It would make it more competitive. And then it would make sense for the community to spend the money to mint those miners. But I won't do it until it's a benefit to the community, because then you're just spending money that you don't need to spend.
I
It's like just
completely understood your explanation and appreciate it so much. I'm learning. Thank you.
All right.
I start to my own self when I talk.
Now, Lynett, this is a new week and a new schedule. You just finished moving. What is your schedule like this week? Are you going to come back? Do you want to spend any other nights or any other presentations the rest of this week to share?
Yeah, I would like to keep doing them, but I'm just wondering if they're making the calls too long. What do you think?
Well, we still
I mean,
have
if
all the
everybody's
full
happy with it,
house.
I will.
So, well, maybe one more time this week. Maybe since this is Monday, we can bring you back on Thursday night on Ken and Herschel's presentation on the
Okay.
join the momentum. So if we schedule that one down, and so we won't need you for tomorrow or Wednesday, but bring you back on Thursday and we can pack the house.
All right, that
You'll
sounds
probably
good.
have some more
The
updates as
next
well.
couple of weeks, I'll try to make sure that I have the accounting for everybody. I think it's important that the community sees what their contribution to the ecosystem is doing, how much goes where, and to me, it's important. I think everybody would want to see that. So we'll have that ready for you here too in the next 2 to 3 weeks.